Okay, so good afternoon. Yesterday we learned the process clause and also the when else clause, which we told that they are examples of concurrent constructs in VHDL. And as mentioned earlier, for basic VHDL modeling, we need to learn only two kinds of statements, that is concurrent statements or constructs and sequential statements or constructs. And we are just learning the most important ones, which are sufficient for both theory as well as doing your part assignments. So today we will discuss about sequential constructs in VHDL. And although I've written three, basically A and B are the same. B is a variant of A and C is a different one. So we read the first construct as if, then, else, and if. And please note that there is a space between and if. Okay, so there is a space. So there is a space between and if. So just like in process, we have end process as the termination of process clause. And similarly for if, we have end space if. So even in languages like C, we are having loops and we can have nested if loops also. So I think so in C we have if and end if. And as many number of ifs are there, those many number of end ifs you have to put. Same is also there in VHDL. And a slight variation of the first construct is if, then, else if, and it is end space if. So here we have to understand that this particular thing is not else space if. If you use like this, it is not acceptable. What is acceptable is actually else if. So that is why when we actually read this, we will read it as if, then, else, end space if, or we can say end if also. So although we say end if, we will not write it as ENDIF, but we will write it as END space IF. And the variant is if, then, else if. Don't say else if. It means else space if, which is not allowed in the language. You should say else if. So if, then, else if, and end if. And third construct is case end case. So we will take examples of 2:1 mux and 4:1 mux to explain and see how these three constructs are actually to be used in the VHDL model. Okay. If, then, else, and if. Okay. So now what we will do, we will consider a hypothetical proposed digital system. Okay. Which has some entity name called as e name, and it has some inputs I1, I2, I3. Okay. And it has some output Y. Okay. And what we will do is that in order to explain this, we will assume, okay, that Y is a function of I1, I2, and I3. Okay. So it has two outputs, Y1 and Y2. So we will say that the output Y1 is a function of I1 comma I2, and the output Y2 is a function of I3. Okay, this is what we are assuming. So we will not write down the library statements and entity declaration. We will just learn how to use if then else if clause. Um, just taking case of y2. Okay. So we will write the architecture body. So as I told you in the previous sessions that sequential constructs are dependent constructs. They don't have any independent existence. That means all sequential constructs must be embedded within concurrent constructs. Okay, so I'll repeat this point here. I will say here that sequential constructs must be written within concurrent constructs. Okay, that is process clause. Is compulsory. So all sequential constructs must be written within process clause. This is a rule. This is the first and the foremost rule. Okay. So the entity name is ename. Let the architecture name be e underscore name underscore arch. I1, I2, I3 are input signals and output signals are Y1 and Y2. So I'm assuming that library statements have been written. All four have been written. Then I also assume that entity name is also written now. Architecture body. Architecture name, that is, it is entity name underscore arch of entity name is. And again, our system is simple, so we are keeping the declaration part blank. So directly we go into the logic part. Now we are carefully see that how I'm writing it. Okay. So now we are going to use this particular dependency that y2 is a function of the signal input signal I3. So first I will write down the process clause here. Okay, begin. I will say process and the sensitivity list. So as I told you that SL is a list of all input signals separated by comma. So we have three input signals. So I will write all of them separated by commas. I1, comma I2, comma I3. Okay. Then we have the process begin. Okay. Now, it's very clear here that I3 is a 1-bit signal. So it can have a value 0 or it can have a value 1. Okay. So now if from the real world, okay, if from the real world a 0 comes through this input line I3, then we are supposed to decide some value for y2, and if logic 1 comes at the input signal I3 into the system ename, then we are also supposed to decide what is the action to be taken on y2. So that is why we have said that the output y2 is a function only of the signal I3. So I3 can be logic 0, logic 1. So we will decide what we will decide, that if I3 comes as logic 1, then what is the value of y2, and if I3 comes as 1, then what is the value of I2. Okay, so we can call these things as actions. Okay, so action 1 and action 2. Okay, so you understood? So output y2 is a function only of the input signal y3, I3. I3 can be 0 and 1. So if I3 receives a logic 1 from the real world, then what should be the value of y2, called as action 1? And if I3 receives a logic 1 from real world, what should be the value of y2, called as action 2? Now we will see how to express this here. Okay, so this is how it is. So I will write down, if I3 equal to, like I told you yesterday, that single bit signals are assigned values in single quotes and multi-bit signals are assigned values in double quotes. So we clearly see that I1, I2 and I3, all of them are single bit signals. So whatever values we want to ascribe to them, they should be in single quotes. So I will say this statement that if I3 receives a 0, so if I3 equal to single tick 0, then I will say y2 is assigned I1 semicolon, else I will say y2 is assigned I2 semicolon. Okay, so again here, as I told you yesterday in the Venel statements, Venel's constructs, we told that the last possible case of the input signal, you are not supposed to write anything. Like yesterday in that multiplexer example, I did not write down that y is assigned I3, y is assigned I3 when s equal to double quotes double one. I told you. Similarly, there is no need to write down like this. So there is no need to write down. Okay. It's not needed. Okay. And there is this. Write down this thing. Okay. So I will say if I3 equal to single tick 0, then y2 is assigned I1, else y2 is assigned I2. Okay. So this naturally means that we are speaking about, this indicates, it implies action for I3 equal to 1. Okay. Now I'll write down end space if semicolon. Okay. Then we will end the process. Now the process has been ended, and we will write down end architecture now. Okay, so if I3 equal to 0, then y2 is assigned I1, else y2 is assigned I2, end space if end process. Okay, it's very simple. Now we take an example of when we can use the variant of the first one, that is if then else if and if. Okay, so we will again take the example of a 2:1 mux. We'll use the construct A and then the construct B. Write architecture body for 2:1 mux using if else clause. So entity name mux21, the first input, second input, select line S, put Y, truth tables, so yesterday we have written architecture body for 2:1 mux using process clause and also when else. So it goes like this. Architecture name of entity name is blank declaration part, begin process, the inputs, first input, second input, select line, process begin. Okay, here we'll write down if select line S is equal to single tick 0, then output Y is assigned I0 semicolon, else Y is assigned I1 semicolon, end space if, end process, and end architecture. Okay, so here I just wanted to highlight that where if then else are used. Okay, so please you should know the locations of these keywords: if, then, else, and end if. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, similarly here also. Okay, so I would like you to note that in the previous example, the input I3 can have only two values. So when two values are there for any particular input signal, we are supposed to use construct number 1. And when a particular input signal has three or more values, we are supposed to use if then else if and if. Okay, so we'll summarize it like this, that if then else and if should be used when an input signal is a 1-bit signal, that is, it has maximum of 2 possible values. And if, then, else if, and if, if an input signal is in the form of a bus having width greater than or equal to 2. Okay, that is, having maximum of greater than or equal to 3 values. Okay, so to explain this blue colored notation, we will take example of 4:1 mux and we will see where the variant is to be used. Okay, so now consider 4:1 mux. So entity name mux 41, I0, I1, I2, I3. Okay, I1, I2, I3. Okay, and there are 2 select lines and we are having a bus for it. 2 select line. Okay, as usual. So we have select line and output 0, 0. Output is I0, 0, 1, I1, 1, 0, I2, 1, 1, I3. Okay, so here we see that there are 4 possible combinations for select lines. So here we write the architecture body. Mux 41 underscore arch of entity name mux 41 is blank declaration part begin. Then we have process I0, I1, I2, I3, select line begin. So now we will see how to use the variant. We will say if. Now I would like to bring to your notice that now there are 2 select lines, but these select lines are expressed as a 2-bit bus. So S is now not a 1-bit signal, it is a 2-bit signal. Okay, so now here we had written S equal to single tick 0 because S was 1-bit signal. Here the select line is a 2-bit signal. So we will write down if S equal to double quotes 00, then y is assigned I0 semicolon. Now see what I'm using. I'm using else if now. Else if s equal to double quotes 01, then y is assigned I1. Else if s equal to the third combination 10, then y is assigned I2. Now only one combination is remaining, so we never write the last possible combination here. So we'll write down else. Write down y is assigned I3. Okay. So then I will write down, there is only one if, so we are going to put only one end if. So I will say end space if end process, and we will say end architecture. Okay. Okay. I hope that you got an idea that what is the difference between these two constructs. When a particular input is 1 bit, so we use if then else end if, and if the particular input can have 3 or more combinations like in 4:1 multiplexer, then we will be using if then else if then else if then else and an end if. Okay, so it's like this. Okay, this is clear now. Okay, yeah. So another variation which can be here is that instead of defining the 4 inputs of multiplexers as discrete signals, I can also replace it with like this. I can also say like this, I 4-bit, just like I defined. So there was another possibility is that I could have defined the select lines like this, S1 and S0. But what is the problem is that if I define the select lines as 2 separate signals and not as a bus, so what I have to do is that I have to write down a modification here. I will tell you what I have to write down. I have to write down if, I have to write down if S1 equal to single tick 0 concatenated with S0 equal to single tick 0. Here I have to write down S1 equal to 0, 1. Here I have to write down S1 equal to 1 ampersand ampersand S0 equal to 0 and like that. Okay, so this will become more laborious if we try to write a VHDL model for an 8:1 multiplexer. So for 8:1 multiplexer, you have to define 3 select lines S2, S1 and S0. Every time you have to write down S1 is equal to 0 concatenated to S0. So S2, S1, S0. So we make our programming short and sweet by defining multi-bit signals or as vectors. So it's like this. Okay, and in this case, if we would have defined the 4 inputs as a vector, then the individual bits will be like this. So in this case, the first input will be I parenthesis 0, the second will be I parenthesis 1, parenthesis 2, parenthesis 3. Okay, this is like similar to C. So you see in C language, if you have defined a array, say for example, array is, name 6. So the first element is name square bracket 0 square bracket 1. Okay, so in C we have square brackets, in VHDL we have parentheses. This completes our discussion for the second variant. Now we go to the third one. Case and case clause. Okay, so we will use the same example of 4:1 multiplexer here, and we will write the architecture. So we will write the same behavior which is there in front of you, but using the case and case clause. Okay, reconsider the 4:1 mux example shown above. Okay, how I write it? See, again I will say architecture, architecture name of entity name is, again blank declaration part, architectures begin. Then as I told you that case and case being a sequential construct, it has to be embedded or written within the process clause. So process clause has to be written with the same sensitivity list, I0, I1, I2, I3, S. And then we have process begin, and here see how I write it. So we can say that the case and case construct in VHDL is same as switch in C. Okay, so I will just write down like this. Now, depending upon the value of S, okay, so depending upon the value of S, 1, 2, 3, and 4, one of these 4 is going to be sent to the output, is it not? So depending upon the value of S, one of these 4 inputs will be sent to the output. So this is the basic logic we are using here. So this is how you express this logic using case statement. I will say case S is, okay. Now see how I'm writing it. When S is 00. Now see here what I'm writing. I will explain you. This is a different kind of an operator. Y is assigned I0 semicolon when 01 Y is assigned I1 when 10 I2. This is a concept which is a little difficult to remember, but by practice you can perfect it. Now, actually we are supposed to write down here like this, okay. End case, end process, and architecture. Okay, so I'll read out the whole construct for you. Architecture name of entity name is architectures begin, process, sensitivity list, and then begin. And because depending upon the value of S, one of these four inputs I0 to I3 will be steered or sent to the output. This logic is expressed using case construct like this. So we say case S is when double quote 00, then Y is assigned I0 semicolon. When double quote 01, then Y is assigned I1 semicolon. When double quotes 10, then Y is assigned I2 semicolon. When double quotes 11, then Y is assigned I3. So please remember this thing. Please see the location of all the different keywords. Okay. Case is when. And please remember this thing. This is not a keyword, but this is called as a special operator. Okay. So please understand that this is assignment operator, which we have been using right from the VHDL model for AND gate. Assignment operator. Okay. That is, it is less than and equal to. Okay. And what you saw here, this thing that is equal to and greater than, this is called as then. Okay. So this is spoken as then, not written as then. Okay, I repeat that this particular operator which you are using here, this particular operator, that is called as, that is spoken as then, but it is not written as then. This is very, very important. Now, one more thing which I observed is that as such this construct is correct, but when I write this construct in Xilinx ISE, at that time it actually reports a warning that one or more of the case is missing. Okay, so when I'll be typing this particular program in Xilinx ISE, it is going to give me a warning that one or more cases is missing. So what you usually do is that for this particular thing, Xilinx ISE, it gives a warning telling one or more cases is missing. Okay. So to resolve this particular warning, what we do is this, that we replace this one with another keyword. Okay. So what the solution is, replace this particular thing with the keyword OTHERS. The warning will disappear. Okay, so in other words, what we will tell is this thing. If you want to write the last two, so we will just say like this. Okay, say the last but one is when 10 spoken as then, written as equal to greater than, Y is assigned I2, and then I will write down when others. Okay, written like this, spoken as then but not written as then, Y is assigned I3. Okay, so we'll just in this program, okay, So process has an end process, case has an end case, and another color we will use this thing. Okay, so for okay, so end architecture for architecture, end process for process, and end case for case. Okay, so we have covered the three different constructs for sequential statements, that is if then else and if. When the input signal has only two combinations, if the input signal has three or more combinations, that is or more than two, we'll be using if then else if. Please understand one thing, that there is a space between and if, and there is no space between else and if. So don't write it as else space if, it is else if. So it is if then else if and if, and case and end case. Okay, so we still have 15 minutes. What we will do is that I will directly flash the Xilinx site IIC tools. We will come to know how the programming is to be done. Okay, so I'll reduce this and I will go here and so we have already shown the demonstration in the introduction to practical session for Xilinx ISE. So same tool I'm opening. That is the first tool, that is synthesis tool or front end tool for part A assignments. So what we will do, we will write multiplexer model using all the different constructs one by one. Okay, so I will open a new project now. Is ISE GUI visible to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so file new project and let me try to write it for Forreston multiplexer. So select HDL, next Spartan 3E, XE3S 250E, PQ2Z -5. Our target technology for part A. Tool is XST, ISIM, HDL is VHDL, simulator is ISIM, all is well. Next, finish. Okay, so here I go to the target line. I will say right click, new source. I will say I want to make a VHDL model. From the clipboard comes here, the entity name MUX41. Here I replace the architecture name from behavioral as entity name underscore arch. And here I will write all of my input signals of multiplexer I0, down arrow I1, down arrow I2, down arrow I3, and here S. Okay. And here S is input, but I will make it as a vector because I don't want the select lines to be discrete as S1 and S0 bus is vector. I will say bus, I will say 1. So it will automatically say 1 down to 0. And my multiplexer output Y, which I'll define as out and say next, finish. Okay, so I will dock, I float my window and I will delete all the comments, delete the second set of comments. So because I want to demonstrate how the constructs are correctly synthesized, I'm accepting the ready-made ls and ed from the tool, but henceforth we are going to delete them. Okay, so I0, I1, I2, I3 all are inputs. S is input, and you see here this is called as a vector data type, that is standard underscore logic underscore vector 1 down to 0. So you know that whenever the select line is defined as a 2-bit bus, it is having a most significant select line S1 and least significant select line S0. That is why we have to give 1 down to 0. Okay, so here what I will do, I will first use process clause. Okay, so I will say if s equal to double quotes 00, then I will say y is assigned I0. Okay, so now I'll copy this basically. Else if s equal to 01, then y is assigned I1. Else if s equal to 10, then y is assigned I2. Else y is assigned I3. Okay, then I will put okay. So I think so our program is over. If at all there is some error, we can always resolve it. So I will dock the window again. My program is, my VHDL model is complete. So I will reselect the VHDL program, expand this, synthesize XST, and I will just say run. Okay, there is an error. So we will see what are the errors. Expecting open parodic. So when I click this and I get markers here. Okay. See here, assignment operator not given properly. So less than equal to. Okay. Save it and resynthesize. If the process is taking so much time, then I think so success is ensured. We are expecting a white tick mark against a fluorescent green background. It should not be taking so much time because system is too small. Yeah, we are through. So we have got a tick mark here, and in the console we have got process synthesize XST completed successfully. Let us see the schematic. So it is a block diagram which we drew. S is a vector and there are 3 inputs. Go inside, and this is what we get inside. Okay, so multiplexer has been inferred in virtual hardware. What we will do is that we will change it to case construct, and we'll remove this thing, and I will simply go here and I will say delete, and I will say case S is when double quotes 00, then y is assigned I0 semicolon. Okay, I'll copy the statement 4 times. Everything is same. Now go on changing 0 1 1 I2 I3. Intentionally I will keep it 1 1. Okay, so case S is when 00 I0 01 I1, so it should be 0. Yes. Okay, actually on the keyboard I have pressed capital O, so there is nothing called as capital O, it is I0, so it will give an error. Let the error be here, so we'll realize how small carelessness leads to an error in VHDL modeling. Okay, so I will say doc, say this thing, and I will go and I will say right click run. We are surely going to get errors, and we have committed certain errors intentionally. So go to errors tab, and we are saying undefined symbol I0. You see, it is so fine, so fine. Okay, so I am supposed to do I0, not IO. Okay, 0. Okay, now again resynthesize. As I told you in our notes that it is giving you an error, a value is missing in case. The solution to this I told is that instead of double quotes double one, I will replace it with the keyword others, and I will say save all, and I will say resynthesize. Okay, we are through, and the same kind of schematic has been obtained. Okay, and here what we will do is that we will use vectors here. Okay, so see how I'm using vectors here. I will simply say vector 0 to 3. Okay, and I will do away with all the individual signals. Why I'm telling you this is important? Suppose if you want to write down a VHDL model for 16:1 multiplexer, are we going to waste time typing I0, I1, I2, I3 up to I7 up to I15? No, we are not going to waste time. That is why short and sweet is that you define multiple inputs as vectors. Only thing we have to do is that here also our programming is becoming less. Instead of I0, I will just say I comma S. And here I will say it as I. So I is a 4-bit vector 0 to 3, S is 2-bit vector 1 down to 0, and process sensitive list only I comma S. And here what I will do is that I will do nothing. I will just access the individual elements of the vector as I parenthesis 1, I parenthesis 2, I parenthesis 3. I think so. We have made the necessary changes. Let us see what the tool has to say about this. Perfect, right? So it's very true. So now if I change this to 15, and if I change this to 3 down to 0, it becomes an entity declaration for 16:1 mux. This is how simply by changing the vector sizes, we can actually expand the size of the system. Okay, so now let it be 0 to 3, and let it be 1 down to 0. Okay, that's fine. So that was the demonstration. And here we have few more minutes. I want to show you what we did on 20th. Here I missed to say something, is that at the end of the session we had discussed about this particular IC number. So here if you see, I had written something. So a question may come to your mind that what is this? Okay, what is this? Equivalent to input NAND gates. So all of us know from second year that NAND and NOR gates are universal gates. Because they can implement all of the remaining functionalities such as NOT, AND, OR, XOR, and XNOR. That is why the old generation FPGAs, that is why the old generation FPGAs used to express the logic complexity in terms of equivalent to input NAND gates. So basically what it means when I say that it contains 250,000 equivalent two input NAND gates, it means that the amount of logic which can be implemented by these many AND gates can also be implemented by the above FPGA. Okay, so this is an old-fashioned definition of describing the logic density or the ability of an FPGA. But if you see in the modern days, as I told you, that they are always expressed in terms of configurable logic blocks, CLBs, and one CLB is equal to 2 slices, and each slice contains 6 input lookup tables and about 8 flip-flops. That is it. Okay. So that was all from my side for today's session, and I'm happy that I already plan to give a demo of the tool. So henceforth, what we are going to do is that we are going to write programs in OneNote, the whole program from library statements till architecture body. Then we will type the same program in ISA and we will see. So by that time, what will happen is that by repeatedly seeing the user interface of Xilinx ISE, all those who have installed ISE on their machines at home can also practice by referring the video again. Yeah, so anybody's any questions about the topic discussed today, they are free to ask. Okay.